everyone to the webinar today, The Complete Guide to Marketing Automation from Accountants. So I'm here with Anthea and Diane from the BizInc team, who you might be able to see on screen as well.
Hi, everyone.
Unfortunately, you'll be hearing more from me than them, but you know, that they're going to be on the session too. Be really interested to know where you're dialing in from today as we get started. I'm down here in the sunny but cold South Island of New Zealand. So I'd really love to know where you're dialing in from. Just type it into the chat would be great. And you can also use the chat or the Q&A panel to ask us any questions. If any come in that are really relevant, then we'll do them in the kind of the course of the session, but maybe we'll do some at the end. So hi to Stephen in Tasmania, Harry in sunny and cold Melbourne, probably about the same weather as me. Oh, we've got Beth in San Francisco, Frisco, Texas. Very cool. We've got loads of people coming in here. Claire
Good to
in
see
Hastings.
a few Queenslanders like me.
Yeah. Miriam and Joshua Tree. I think I know which Miriam that is. I'd love to go rock climbing in Joshua Tree sometime. Okay, cool. Keep those coming in. So a little bit of housekeeping first. If you've got any technical issues, just use the chat or the Q&A. Anthea and Diane will try and help you out with that. And I'll do some proper introductions later. But first, I just want to get into the session and look at why automation is important for your firm. So, would you like to save 21.6 hours per month? Get those back. That's a conservative estimate of what BizInc saves every month with marketing automation. Now, that was a bit of a kind of, you know, back of a cigarette packet kind of thing I did, but I was talking about it with Anthea before, and it is a very conservative estimate. We probably save actually a lot more than that, and that's just in the marketing part of our business. You know, we do way more automation in terms of sales, production, and support in BizInc, and so we do save a whole lot of time through doing that. And it's fair to say that we wouldn't have grown as fast, or you know, we'd have had to hire a lot more people if we didn't have automation. So it's been crucial to BizInc's success, and I want to share what we've done. I want to share that with you. Now, since we launched 8 years ago, we're now working with hundreds of accounting and bookkeeping firms from all over the world. And what's great about that is we see what they're doing in terms of automation, and we'll be sharing the kind of best practices that we've seen from them as well. But before that, I want to just get kicked off with a bit of a poll. So if you could launch that, please, Anthea. And I just want to know, what is your biggest marketing challenge? What's your biggest marketing challenge? And like teachers always used to say to me in school when I was misbehaving, like, I only ask questions that I know the answers to. But I think I know what the answer might be for this one. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Give you a bit more time to vote. Thank you for everyone who's done that. We're getting cool. All right. Okay, let's close that off and share the results, please. So I thought it was going to be finding time, which a third of you said that was the case, and that normally is the answer that we get. So we do a survey every year to several hundred firms, and usually that comes out easily as the biggest pain point. And anecdotally as well, hey Anthea, when we're talking to accountants and bookkeepers, that's nearly always it. But unsure what to do, 49% of you say that. So that's a real interesting one. But look, I'm going to hopefully show you what to do in terms of automation, but also, you know, time is clearly a big pain point as well. And that's what automation can do, right? You can save such a bunch of time in doing that. But I think the question I've got here is like, is it time saved or time added? Because you can only save time on marketing if you're actually doing marketing, right? If you're not doing anything, then you're not saving it. And I know for a lot of firms, they struggle to, you know, do any marketing at all, or they're doing very little. So just another quick poll would be, in an average week, how much time do you spend on marketing? So if we could launch that one, promise I won't bombard you with too many polls, but I think this is really interesting to get this get this out there. Cool. Thanks to everyone who's voted. Most people have done that now. A few more seconds. All right, cool. If we could close that off, please, Anthea, and share those results. So almost a third of you have no time to do marketing in an average week. And then 27% only an hour. So, that's half, right, of people are spending like an hour or less on marketing. A few, 3% of people doing more than 8 hours, which is awesome. But the thing is that, like, if you have little time for marketing, which is obviously what's coming out, automation can mean that it gets done, right? Even when you get busy during tax time or end of year, it still gets done. So it's not about necessarily time saving, it's about making something happen that would not have happened otherwise. So, for example, you could have a lead magnet on your website, which we'll look at a bit later. So a valuable piece of content that you give away and people give you their email address. Some of you will already have that. If you had that on your website and you didn't have automation, someone would download that, then you would have to follow them up manually with an email every single lead that you got. Whereas with email automation, like you'll see in a bit, you could send, 2, 3, 5, a whole sequence of emails without even lifting a finger. And those leads can go automatically into your CRM or your practice management software. So no data entry. And you could even get an alert into something like Slack or Microsoft Teams. So, something like that, if you did it manually, would take hours to do. And realistically, it just wouldn't happen, right? But with automation, once you've got that stuff set up, it just happens seamlessly. Now, a word of warning, automation doesn't fix bad marketing. If your marketing is crap, then automation is just going to make you really efficient at spreading that crap around. So that's what my photo is trying to say. Accountants and bookkeepers love technology and automation, and I get that. And in my experience, they love it a lot more than writing, say, marketing content or doing marketing strategy, marketing plans, things like that. But in 2021, we're still not got to the point that we don't need humans to do those things. Maybe we won't soon. I've got a link that Anthea's going to put in the chat to something called copy.ai, where you can have some robots do some writing for you. But realistically, that's for very small pieces of copy. That's not going to create a marketing strategy for you. You still can't automate that strategic and creative part of your marketing. So automation is not some silver bullet that, if you're not doing any marketing and you've not got a strategy, you've not got good content, it's not a silver bullet that's just suddenly going to make you have a bunch of leads and a bunch of clients coming in. But assuming you have good marketing and all those things I just mentioned, it can really put that on steroids, get it happening without you lifting a finger, and save you a bunch of time. So what we're going to cover next is what you need to be automation ready, and look at what's involved in kind of creating good marketing. So so you can get started with automation. Now, first, some quick introductions. My name is Matt Wilkinson. I'm the founder and CEO of Biz Inc. And we're helping hundreds of firms from all over the world with their website and their digital marketing. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share what we've seen as the most effective automations that some of those firms are using. So joining me on this session is Anthea, our head of growth, and your life would be quite a bit harder without automation. Hey, Anthea.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be. My role, obviously head of growth at Biz Inc. So often I am, one of the first points of contact. So I hear a bit about what accountants are struggling with their marketing, and see what they end up doing as well, how they can be successful with it, and the automation piece as well that we'll go into today. And yeah, in my role, it definitely would be a lot harder without these automation pieces. Things like, getting notified when there's a new, lead or interested party that I can follow up, tasks that just get automated after meetings, the meeting itself being created automatically. And the key bit for me that's quite good is the experience when it gets automatically handed over to the next department, things like that. So it's all things that, save us time internally at Bizink, but makes things easier for the user on the other side of it as well. So definitely has saved us time, made my life easier for sure.
Cool, thanks. And we didn't put Diane's photo on, but she wrote this marketing automation ebook. And because she's new to Bizink, she's our new marketing operations manager. We gave her a pass and she didn't have to do this webinar, but you're on the hook next time, Diane.
Yeah, you're up next time, Diane. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. So look, my goals for this webinar are, I want to explain like why you should use marketing automation. Well, hopefully I've already done that. I think it either saves you time if you're spending time on marketing, you can automate certain tasks, or it kind of adds time in that, if there's things you're not doing, then you can make sure that they happen. They just happen obviously automatically, hence the name automation, and it gets done. Next bit is going to be checking if you're automation ready. That's really important because I think a lot of firms skip that step and get to the kind of spreading poor marketing around thing really quickly. But the most important thing, I want to show you how, right? I want this to be a practical session. We're going to show you how to do automation with some real simple but high return automations. And my key goal is to just give you one automation that you could take away and do this week. And I'll hold myself accountable to that. We'll come back to that at the end and see if I've achieved my goal. Now, a bit of homework, it's not really homework, but I mentioned this complete guide to marketing automation for accountants ebook. So we gave the webinar the same title, and I'm hoping we can keep this to a nice short and tight session. So obviously we can't cover every single aspect of marketing automation, but we say that because we're marketers and and all of that. But the ebook is much more expansive, and we'll be sending that to all of you along with the recording of the webinar after the session. We'll send that across. If you've got any questions as well, because it's a big topic, just use the Q&A panel. And you've got 3 of us on the line, and we'll try and answer those either in the chat or we can do a Q&A session at the end. And we'll also give you our contact details. We're always happy to help with any questions you've got. Now, in terms of being automation ready, it only works, in my opinion, if you've got a solid foundation of 3 different things. And the first one of those is a marketing strategy or a marketing plan that covers some things like who's your ideal customer, what messages they respond to, could call that a value proposition. So you need to have something to say, right? And so that's the second one, is the content and the messaging. You've got to have some content to automate. You can't automate nothing, and generally you're automating content, things like emails or social media messages, that kind of thing. So you need to be able to either create that content yourself or hire someone to do it. And the final one is websites and other online assets like your social media sites, that kind of thing. So to get started, first I think you need a marketing plan, and I know that about 2/3 of firms don't. We do a survey every year, and it always comes out the same, that about 2/3 of firms don't have a marketing plan. So if you don't, I created a like a planning framework for Xero a couple of years ago. I've put a link to the chat in the chat to that. It guides you through. It's kind of a nice like PDF that just guides you through trying to identify your ideal customer, messaging, and a few things like that. Once you've got your plan sorted, like I said before, I think you need to have something to say, right? It's good to be opinionated. Sitting on the fence and being very neutral doesn't work that well in marketing. So having something to say, having good content is really important. Really trying to work on your value proposition as well. What is the problem you're solving for for your prospects, for your clients? How do you articulate that in a way that, you know, is attractive? Because no one is out there going, I really want to buy some accounting today. Like, no one's going to say that. So what is your value proposition beyond that, right? We could spend the whole webinar talking about
I
that,
was
so
going
I'm
to
just going to
say
go over it
that's
very lightly.
it's a very difficult thing to nail. It's probably something you're going to have to keep working on, and yeah, there's probably webinars in that itself for sure.
Totally. And like, you know, we're working on ours the whole time, you know, like we refer back to that strategic stuff like almost every meeting we have. So that's, you know, it's not a once and done type thing. It's an ongoing thing, and it can change. So what I'd then be doing is, you know, again, we're doing this very briefly, but I'd be looking to create expert content. So, you know, if you're standing for something, how do you become a domain expert in that thing? And, you know, a niche of a niche is totally fine. You know, we're talking about here, you know, we've got this very small market of, well, it's not that small, but, you know, accountants and bookkeepers of a certain size, and we're talking about marketing automation. So it's a very niche topic, right? I'd advise you to find something like that as well, because then you can find something you can own. And you know, writing content is hard. We're a content company. You know, like this ebook that we're going to send you, that stuff takes a long time to produce. And you know, this is what we do day in, day out. We're good at it. If that's not your core work, which it probably isn't, then hire a copywriter. You know, it's one of the best investments you can make is investing in a good marketing copywriter, or a content company like BizInc, you know, specializes in accountants. Final bit about getting automation ready is just making sure your website is up to scratch. And reason for that is that, you know, your website's going to be where a lot of your automations start and kind of, I guess, end as well, in that the website still tends to be the center of your digital marketing world, because, you know, it's where you put your blogs, it's where you direct people from your emails, even your social sites tend to point people to your website. So getting your website sorted, again, there's a whole webinar in that, but a quick way to do that would be to take our free website audit, where one of our team will, all you need to do is put your domain name and your email address. One of our team will take a look at your website and will come back with some actionable kind of solutions, or just tell you what you're doing well as well. I think that's what people like about our audit, is it's not just like one of those SEO ones where it's all a load of technical mumbo jumbo you don't understand. It's like written in
Big
normal
red crosses
English.
and things.
Yeah. It's none of that stuff, right? This is like actually someone looks at your website, and, you know, if you're doing well, we'll tell you that. It's not, you know, some super negative kind of over technical thing that like SEO companies send out. So just to end this, I'll just say it again. Automation can't fix bad marketing. Automation can improve good marketing, but, you know, you can't sort of automate nothing. You can't automate from having nothing. So you've got to have those things in place, your strategy, your content and messaging, and a website that works well. All right. So getting started with automation. You don't need fancy and expensive software to get started with automation. You've probably got most of the tools that you need. So quite interested to know which marketing software that you're already using. So we're just going to run a quick poll on this. This is a multiple choice one. So if you're using all of them, tick them all. There's probably other ones I've missed off, but I just thought these would be some of the most common ones that we see firms using. So thanks for voting again. Yeah, a lot of people voting for email marketing, which I suspect will be the most popular. So almost everyone is using email marketing, which is cool. Anyone who comes to my sessions knows how much I like email marketing.
I was going to say, that make you happy?
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, cool. Let's run it for a few more seconds. Okay, brilliant. Let's stop that and share the results. So lots of different software being used. You know, across all of that, we can easily say you've got tools that help you do marketing automation. I mean, email is where I would start, and that's where we are going to start in just a second. That's one of the most effective and easy ways you can get going with automation. But all of those other tools, allow you to do automation. Social sharing, things like Buffer and Hootsuite. Post once goes to lots of different social networks. CRMs, I mean, look, there's millions of those, but they all tend to have some form of automation or lots of automation. Landing pages, marketing platforms, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, they're kind of built around automation, and things like online forms as well, Typeform and Wufoo, they all can take data and push that all kinds of different places. And one I didn't put in there is Zapier, which we'll be talking about later, which is not strictly I guess, a piece of marketing software, but often used in that capacity. So we'll be looking at that a bit later as well. But as I said, let's have a look at email marketing first, because I think it's a real nice one to get going with. It's simple. And in my experience with automation, simple is best, because complex automation with lots of steps and branches, it gets out of hand really fast. And you think you're creating kind of this really awesome thing, and then a week goes by and you can't remember what it does, and then suddenly that can have a lot of unintended consequences down the track with, there's a lot then to go back and review. And, Anthea, we've had this, right, in BizInc.
You've definitely got to find a balance there. That it can do a lot of cool things, but yeah, I think simple is probably best to start with anyway, because sometimes something gets created or a task comes out, and you've forgotten what's triggering that or where'd that come from. So there is definitely a balance to manage here for sure.
Something I'd probably add there is maybe someone did, I doubt it, but no prospect or lead or whatever you want to call them, or client, ever asked to be put into a marketing automation. Nobody wants that. And like, the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. The worst marketing just feels like marketing, right? It feels like you're being spammed. So it's all great that you can send someone 8 emails and you don't have to lift a finger, but if they're not very good emails and they start annoying people, then you're just magnifying that. So you've got to really craft this stuff rather than trying to overcomplicate it, because it still comes down to the same stuff of messaging and understanding your ideal client and all of that. It's just that it's happening automatically. So let's have a look at email automation. It's easy to set up, it's cheap, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Most of you've got it already. 94% of you here today have email marketing, and all good email marketing apps allow you to do some form of automation, which can be as simple as someone subscribing to like a newsletter list and you send them a thank you email. That's known as an autoresponder in kind of the marketing business, and that's been around for I'd say 20 years. I can remember using. I've been around that long in marketing, and I remember using them in the early 2000s. So maybe they've been around longer. And you can take that even further. Rather than just sending one email, you can send like a series of emails, sometimes known as drip marketing or marketing funnels. Now, I feel like marketing funnels are the new SEO, where nobody quite understands what they are, but everyone really wants one. And we get asked about funnels a lot. So I'm sometimes a bit reticent about talking about it, but look, I think a marketing funnel, it's a lot simpler than some people would make out, and it's really easy to automate it from your website. A basic marketing funnel is simply a form that captures a lead, and there's usually a giveaway to encourage the person to provide their details. We call that a lead magnet. So that can often be something like a download, like an ebook, and then a series of automated emails are dripped out, drip marketing over a week, a month, or whatever period that you choose. And possibly you can do some branching depending on what a lead does in the funnel. So say if they click or open an email, you could put them into another branch or take them out of the funnel entirely. But like I said before, in most cases, keep it really simple. That's probably going to be your best way to go, at least at the start. So just have one sequence for all of your leads. So here's an example of one that we created for one of BizInc's clients. This is a business plan template and course. That's what's trying to hook in the visitor. And the goal is to turn those visitors to the website into leads, because only a small percentage of visitors to your website are ever going to give you a call or email you, but a much bigger percentage will sign up for something like this. And then once they're signed up, you can nurture them, obviously automatically, through these email sequences. So this is, kind of what it looks like inside a BizInc website. Mentioned, I'm going to tell you some other platforms that do exactly the same kind of stuff in just a second. So on the left, you can see it's a 7-email course plus a closing email on day 8, which is asking if people would like more help with their business plan. And on the right, you can see the first email in that sequence. So all of this is happening 24/7. People can be visiting the site, they're coming in, they're being nurtured with these emails without, anyone lifting a finger. Now, of course, all of them, not just going to sort of read the emails and get in touch and you've got a client, but things you could do with this and automate as well is that when they get to the end of the sequence, then move them to a newsletter list, and then they keep hearing from you, because a lot of sales marketing is just about timing. People buy when they're ready, not when you want to, unfortunately. And that
How it
is
works,
just,
eh?
yeah, it is, and that's just a truism, right? You can't force that. If someone isn't ready to switch accounting firms, doesn't really matter what you can do. But if the timing is right, you just need to be top of mind and go, okay, that's the people are going to call.
There's probably quite a few sales lost because the communication just drops, they had that meeting or they signed up for this, but there was nothing else. They mustn't be interested, but they're a busy business owner too. So just keep in touch with them. So keep front of mind. So when they are ready, it's you that they think of. That's the intention here.
One of the biggest, you can read a lot of stuff on this, is a lot of salespeople give up really quickly. They'll give up after like a couple of touches or whatever, like calls or emails. And I think there's like 11% of, I'm making this up, but it doesn't, I'm half remembering it, but it doesn't really matter. It's about right. Is something like 11% of deals close after like the 7th touch or something like that. Or, basically the message is you've got to keep going. And as accountants and bookkeepers, you've got pretty a long marketing and sales pipeline. We do it BizInc because you guys aren't that hard to sell to. but I've had a deal that went on for 36 months, 3 years, and the guy, like, he actually said at the end, he's like, you were persistent, and in the end switched over to us. So it does matter, and being top of mind, especially if you can do that in an automatic way, is really key. So look, all good email marketing apps have automation. Anthea's going to post in some links to popular kind of generic providers. There's also BizInc, where we do the automation and the email content as well. So if you want to talk to us, she'll post a link in there. And that's going to basically get you started with automation. Way they'll generally start is someone subscribes to a list in the software. And that's through a form, right? So that could be, most of those apps will give you like a form that you can place on your website. People sign up and they go in the software, and all this cool stuff happens. This is an automation. It's not just for marketing, but this is a course that we create for a zero course we create for BizInc clients. So yeah, I guess it's kind of marketing. It's onboarding, right? But really cool thing to do with email automation. Someone becomes a client and you can send them this course over, I think this one goes over 8 days. What an awesome onboarding experience, to do that, and it's completely automated, so it actually happens.
Saves you time, steps your new client through everything, so it's a good first experience for them. And once it's all set up, which in this case we're doing it all for you, there's pretty minimal effort from your part. So I think it's an ideal combination there.
I remember talking to Guy Pearson at Practice Ignition, who's the CEO there, and used to have an accounting firm as well. And he had some really interesting stats about how the importance of the onboarding experience was to how long clients stay. So there's been some research done on that, and how the relationship starts is how it's going to kind of carry on and how it's going to end. So it's really important to do that. So website automation is the next thing I want to look at. And a lot of automations are triggered by what visitors do on your website. or you know, the messages in an automation are going to send them back to your website. And I'm going to show you an automation that is, I think it's probably Bizzing's most popular feature. It's certainly one of our most popular, and it's a massive time saver. So to do this one, you need a blog. We're going to do a quick poll. So who's got an active blog? Just a simple, well, yes, no, or not sure. I got told in polls you should always have not sure. So we put it in.
Yeah.
People like sitting on the fence. I don't know.
I guess what's active.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll just run this for a few more seconds. All right, cool. Let's close that off and share the results, please. That's cool. So, I mean, look, blogging is a real good way to get content out there. What we're going to show you is how to get those blogs onto social media automatically. Now, if you don't have a blog, we do have a blog product where you can just get access to several hundred blogs. There's about 320 blogs in there. We do new blogs every month, 4 new blogs. Anthea will post the link to that content pack. So it's just a real easy, simple product if you did want to get some blog content really easily. Now, is anyone sort of like posting stuff to their blog and then like copying and pasting that stuff to their social media sites? Just like type yes or no in the chat. You know, if you're doing that, this is an automation that can save you time, but just do this completely automatically. So I'm going to jump out of the slides here and jump into the back end of a Bizzing website. This is just our demo website, and you can see a blog post here ready to go. So this is like one of the ones that we write for clients. Small business end of year planning tips. So we've just had end of financial year in New Zealand, and the UK has, and Australia's coming up, US in May. So we've got this post ready to go. We've added an image in there. That's it. That's ready to go. And then what's going to happen here? It's going to post through to social media. So like I said, it's one of our most popular features. It's achievable on other websites, but we've built this in. And so when I hit publish, that is going to go live on the site, of course, because that's what we want the blog to do. So there it is with the image. But what's really cool is with that automation, that's going to go through to social media. So we can see it. It's gone to Facebook there and Twitter as well. So it can go to LinkedIn. I mean, my view would be, I don't know about Twitter. I personally wouldn't be posting there. I'd be posting to LinkedIn, and Facebook would be my go-tos for most firms. But you can see that's automated through there. So there's different ways to achieve that. That's how we do it. But I think that's one of the very best automations that you can do is, you know, you're doing your blog anyway, and you know, nearly 60% of you have that go to social media because you need to amplify the content. People don't tend to just find that your blog on its own, and you know, other ways you amplify it is through your newsletter. And you know, I'm not going to go through this automation here as today because we've got limited time, but you know, there's a way to automate like a newsletter from a blog, and you can do this in MailChimp, you can do this in Campaign Monitor. We have it built into our sites here where you get the RSS feed from your blog and you put it into an email template, and you can see it pulls in the content, and then you set that out to send automatically. So that's something that, yeah, you know, we do it in our websites, but those other platforms do it as well.
Just the copying and pasting directly to social media. A few people said, yeah, you know, when they do post their blog, they're putting it out. John's mentioned it didn't take too long to do, but it was boring, and Twitter was a problem, which I think you've just touched on there. That's probably the thing is, it's not necessarily, posting to Twitter doesn't take that long, does it? If you've got the blog and the link and a little blurb, it's not that long, but these things do add up. And if you, it's easy to forget it as well, 1 month or, you know, for one blog. So these little, you know, simple little automations that do amplify, the content that you've put out there, it makes sense to look into this stuff. So
yeah, they do add up, right? It's like anything in business, isn't it? You know, just oh, I'll just do that this time. It only takes a
Yeah.
couple of minutes, but a couple of minutes, a few times a day, times, whatever it is, 200 business days in a year. It's a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm.
When I totted up the thing at the start of like saving 22.6 hours or whatever my daft number was, like that's real stuff. Like we would be doing that. We'd be following up leads and all of that manually. And I see businesses doing that. I was talking to Anthea before the session. It's not like people are all using automation. People aren't using automation. So yeah, that stuff, it saves you time. It also, I think, removing friction has its own sense of momentum in business, right?
Mm.
Like when stuff just happens nicely, it kind of makes other stuff happen. Whereas if you're doing copy paste, you
Mm.
know, well, it gives you like a sore wrist forever for
Yeah.
one thing, right? And you're doing that kind of monotonous stuff. So I'm just like, anything you can do like that makes it feel smooth and good. And like to your last point, Anthea, it just gets done, right? Because
Yeah.
so easy to forget those little things as well. So they'd be all reasons why I'd be really trying to do that.
While you're in here, sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
Jason's just asked, can email newsletters go to a blog? So it might be good just to quickly talk about what we do at BizInc the other way around.
So you send an email newsletter and it goes to your blog.
Can they? So what we do at BizInc is we often use the blog. So we provide the blogs written for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can edit them if you want to make any changes. They go through to your website, obviously on your blog page, through to social media with that automation we've just showed. And what we do is we pull that automatically into the newsletter, which is on screen here. So it's using that one piece of content, in three ways. So that creates the news piece of the newsletter, if you like. I believe that's Jason says, yes, our newsletters are written for us, but can they go to a blog? Okay,
I
so that
see.
is the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, the other
Sorry.
way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite way of doing it is kind of like do the blog first. Possibly is a way to do that. A lot of the some newsletter services allow you to create like an online archive where people can read a newsletter like that. In my experience, people don't do that, but possibly it's doable. Maybe you could do it through something like Zapier, which I'll show you later. But yeah, I've never seen it done that way. I'm sure there is a way to do it, right? It would just depend on, does your newsletter system have an API, and does your website that would allow that to come in? I'm getting into technical jargon here, but I think we'll look at Zapier later and see if it does that. So back to website automations. Let's pop out my notes. If anyone can tell me how to get the notes out of Google Slides without going back and forwards like that, I'd love to know. So website automations, the next one I want to have a look at is meeting bookers. And this is something I recommend every firm has on their site. I think this is like, kind of like a must-have really. So for this, you need a meeting booking service. Popular options like Calendly, Acuity, HubSpot. So yeah, it's who's using those? Yes or no? Maybe just type into the chat. Using one of these kind of meeting bookers, either on your website or just day to day. If you're using it and you don't have a button on your website, I'd highly recommend doing that, because we did this at BizInc. It'd be over 5 years ago now. We got 30% more demos straight away in the months following that. So it just made it easier for people to book sales meetings with us. And we save like 10 minutes of admin time per booking, and that could be 30 or 40 meetings a month. It's a lot of time, right, that you're saving there. And it's real time saved. There's no email tennis, there's no setting up Zoom meetings. Super efficient way of doing things. But most importantly, it's a great experience for prospects and clients. So you're getting more sales meetings, you're saving time, better client experience, and you can push data into different apps for consistency, right? You can take this data and put it into your CRM, for instance, which is what we do. So I'll jump back out here, and some live examples would be we have on our website. So we do it in two ways. Number one, pop-up like that. So that's a real slick way of doing it. We also do it like this, is to have a page like book a demo or book a meeting, you should call it. What's useful with that is you can send that link to people and it's like a branded link. So rather than having Calendly or whatever one you use, this is embedded in your site, so it looks like branded and all of that, and you can just remember that link, because some of those links you get are those apps are like a bit weird or whatever. This is just like a real simple one you can remember, and we use this stuff all the time. A couple of clients you can see this with, so I think this is like the Office 365 one, I'm not sure the exact name of it, that's been embedded in there. And this firm has got like the button up there, and they have a book a callback as well. And then this is Calendly, right? So you can go in and do that.
So you can see there how professional it looks when it's embedded into the website itself rather than just, calendly.com/ whatever.
Which is okay as well, right? Like, I sometimes do that with, like, we use HubSpot for ours, but I just think it's just easy to remember. I always have that link saved and I can just be like, there you go. And it's on brand, and, it's always the same page. And then you can track that page better, and blah, blah, blah. You can track that in your Google Analytics and that kind of stuff.
I think, your point earlier about a good client experience as well, Leanne has just mentioned in the chat, I live by my booking and prospects and clients love it. So that's the point as well. It's not just saving time for you, it's an easier, slicker experience for them. They don't have to, pick up the phone or go through, request a consultation form or those sorts of things if that's not their preferred way of doing things. If they're ready to book in right then, you may as well let them do that, especially for those initial consults.
Totally, yeah. I just think that's an essential tool for a modern accounting firm. You just got to have that. So, what actually gets automated? So, in the example of someone booking a sales meeting, could be the calendar, well, would be the calendar, right? Obviously, it does that. So you avoid that, what I call email tennis, which, I'm going through that with a couple of people at the moment and trying to organize a meeting over 3 countries, and it's painful. Particularly if you do, probably a lot of you got local businesses, but if you're doing anything across time zones, with, in the States or Australia, that's relevant. There's different state time zones, it makes it really handy. Video conference gets set up, so Zoom, Google Meet, GoToMeeting, whatever you use, that's just done, saves that hassle. CRM, you can put the leads, the deals, the notes, so 100% accurate record keeping happening. Task system, so you can create follow-up tasks and things like that, make sure your client experience is really good. And even a payment gateway. We've got clients to charge for certain types of meetings, and they've got the meeting booker integrated with a payment gateway, which several of them do, so they can take a payment and do all of the rest of the stuff on top of it. So, most of them do that with native integrations. If not, you could use Zapier, which I'm going to show you a bit more about later, which can connect it probably up to, 2,000 different apps that, whether you use some of those. Cool. Okay, so next one I'm going to have a quick look at is chatbots. We're now seeing more firms using chatbots on their website. Is anyone using one who's here today? Just type yes or no into the chat. This is an example from one of Business New Zealand clients. Most of you saying no. So I think chatbots will probably be a bit like meeting bookers. A few years ago, I didn't see many firms using them. Lots of firms using them now. I think chatbots are going to go that way. Just obviously, like everything, you've got to use it properly, because it can be done really badly, and we've all been in a kind of crappy chatbot experience, right? But I think you can use it for marketing, you can use it for sales, you can use it for support, and often the line blurs between those things, right? Is that you could be supporting a client and that turns into a sales conversation because you can help them with something else. But I really like chatbots from a marketing perspective, because having someone pick up the phone and call you just from your website is quite a big step in the sales cycle, right? Not many firms have the phone ringing off the hook, and that isn't because your website is crap or your marketing is. It's just because that's the nature of the psychology of people engaging an accountant. It's a big step. So you might have prospects on your website who are interested, but they're not quite ready to call you or, you know, email or whatever. They might just have a few questions which they prefer to stay anonymous in order to answer. And, you know, I definitely use chat in that way. If I'm a supplier who I don't want to go into their lead funnel or whatever, I just got a few questions. Chat's great for that. So it's ideal for taking someone who might be like a lukewarm prospect and warming them up into a hot lead. So some popular options. We use HubSpot. So we use HubSpot for most of our marketing and sales and CRM and support. Drift is another one. Intercom. So I haven't got the links for those, but if you Google Drift or Intercom, they will come up. And you know, they all do the kind of basic text chat, like, you know, a person behind it, but they also do, like, you can create like bots behind it as well. So basically creating like a sequence of things that happen. If people like type yes or no or whatever, you know, we've all used those things probably on the other side of it. And where a bot can be great is that it can like triage those inquiries, get them through to the right place. And I think that's where bots are used well, is that, you know, you don't need a person to sort of point people in the right direction, but there should always be that option to chat to a human as well. There's nothing worse than that, being stuck in that loop, right? You know, where it's like, does this answer your question? No. Okay, what about this? And it's like, no, none of that answers my question. I need to speak to somebody. So that's chatbots. Look, some objections, common objections, which I always get asked, and I'll answer them here, is like, who answers the chatbot when people are not there? Well, I mean, or actually the first one is, who answers it? You know, I'd say, look, well, who answers your phone calls? You've either got a receptionist or you're doing it. Well, someone's there, right, answering stuff. So that's the person who can answer the chat. It can just be sitting on your computer. It flicks up. I mean, it's not going to be going off the hook. I can promise you that. If you're not there, you can either make it collect email addresses, or most of them you can just make them be invisible. So you set yourself to away and it's not there anymore. Or it just says, hey, we're not here. Give your email address and we'll get back. So it gathers a lead. So to me, there's the objections, you know, they're not really kind of substantial. And I think it's a real cool thing to have on your website for sales, for marketing, and for supporting clients as well. It's a real good experience. And something, when we added it, BizInc, I think it was a bit of a game changer for our support. And yeah, I mean, we do get people coming through in a sales and marketing perspective from it. Doesn't go off the hook, but those people who do tend to be quite engaged leads, and we have a good chat with them, and they usually book a demo as well. So the final thing I want to have a look at is Zapier, right? Because I mentioned that a few times, and I see a lot of accountants and bookkeepers talking about it. Anyone using Zapier? Just put like yes or no in the chat. Some people call it Zapier. I call it Zapier. They're called Zaps. It's Zapier. So we can post a link to Zapier. Mostly knows. Right, so check out Zapier, right? I think it's
Leanne
free.
says she's trying to.
Okay, yeah, it's it can be a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, I've been using it for years now, so maybe I'm a kind of know my way around it really well. But I think it's free to get started and a real low price after that. And what it does, it connects up about 2,000 of the best cloud apps in the world. So the basic principle is you set a trigger in one app and then you run an action in another app. And so, you know, for example, you get it on your website, you could have like an online form, and then you could push that data. So someone submitting the form is the trigger, and the action is it goes to your CRM, or, you know, it could even go to accounting practice apps like Practice Ignition or Center. Even Xero and QuickBooks are in there. So it's really powerful way to connect up things and do some automations, which might not be able to be done natively in the apps that you're using. So just quickly, you know, I'm going to show you how it works. So you can see what we've got here is Gravity Forms, which is what we use for the forms on our website, and that's going to Slack. So there are endless options, but this is what we do, is that when someone signs up, we can send a message into our Slack. So when we get a lead, it pushes a message into our Slack and notifies them. So that's like, for example, like when you get a sales meeting booked, Anthea, that goes straight through to you and you're notified, right?
Yeah, definitely makes it a lot easier for sure.
So definitely check out Zapier because there's so much you can do in there, and we'll probably connect up most of the cloud apps you've got. So just a quick example of how you might use this in an accounting firm. There's an example from an onboarding form that we give to our clients on their websites or other products that we have. And so basically what it's doing is an onboarding form, obviously capturing a client's details as you sign them up and you're onboarding them. You've got to gather their information and all of that kind of thing. So what could that automate by using Zapier? So the information comes in through the form, go through Zapier, and you could push that to trigger a series of onboarding emails like we showed earlier. It could do that in your email marketing software. You could book an onboarding meeting with this client, and that could be, like we showed before, a calendar invite and a Zoom meeting. So, you could use Zapier to connect to Google Calendars or Zoom. It could add the data into your CRM or practice management software, so there's no data entry. Could even put them into a spreadsheet like Excel in Office 365 or Google Sheets. It could add them to your marketing list and your marketing software, and like it even connects with Xero. You could send them an invoice depending on something that they've selected. So really the only limit with Zapier is, the technology stack that you've already got and your imagination. It can connect up so many different dots, and it's not just limited to your website. There's so many different things you can do with that. All right. So we're going to wrap the session up soon. And look, I had a goal at the start, and it was hopefully that I showed you at least one automation you could do this week. And I said I'd make myself accountable for that. So if you want to run a quick poll on that, hope people did find that we did.
And if you said yes, let us know in the chat which one you're going to have a go at, and do feel free to reach out if you have any questions as you get going with that.
Yeah, and when we say that, I'm happy to put my email address out there. Do reach out. I will always answer questions and things like that. We are happy to help. That's good. We've only had one person say that they didn't get one, so I feel like I've won. Just about. That's good.
Awesome.
Look, automation is a big time saver once you've got it set up. There's no doubt about that, but it does take a bit of time to set up. And we're writing some automation sequences for some ebooks that we've been writing, and they'll take us a day or two to perfect. But once it's done, obviously it's working away even while we're asleep. Now, if you're pushed for time and you want your automation automated for you, then we can help you at BizInc. We've got a marketing and website and marketing automation platform that has a bunch of built-in automations that even come with some of the content written for you. So things like automatic posting to social media, like I showed you today, email newsletter automation, and marketing funnels. And we also connect natively with Zapier, so opening up automations to like 2,000 plus apps. So check out our website or book some time with our team using our meeting booker and that'll all be automated, of course, to chat with us, and just put the link in there. But we're going to stick around now for any questions you have about anything to do with today's session or just marketing automation in general. And so hopefully we've got a few questions coming in. Use the Q&A panel or the chat is fine, and Anthea will quiz me.
Yeah, well, we've got one from Stephen earlier about content, back when you were talking probably about the blogs and things. Can you just clarify how Google looks at content that's not original?
Oh, so this is probably the duplicate content myth, as I call it. So basically, I think SEO people put this out, was that duplicate content penalizes your website. If you Google we'll send out the link in maybe in the basically it doesn't matter as long as the content's not spammy, this is how they describe it, it's fine. So Matt Cutts, who was the head of search at Google, said as long as duplicate content isn't spammy, then why would we penalize that? Because most of the internet is made up of duplicate content, whether that's on things being shared on social media. There's lots of reasons to do that. So, as long as content's not spammy, it's fine. And yeah, that's it really. I mean, that's how Google looks at it, is that yeah, if you're doing what the duplicate content thing came out about was there were a lot of sites being scraped and put together to get affiliate revenue, and this is like, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. And Google created this update to the algorithm called Panda, which penalized that, but it was only penalizing really kind of egregious website, like sites that were just basically completely made up of unoriginal content. If you share something that's somebody else has done, they're not going to punish you that. So search for Matt Cutts, Matt as in M-A-T-T, Cutts, C-U-T-T-S, Matt Cutts duplicate content. Don't believe me, that's the head of search at Google telling you that it's fine.
Awesome. Another question as well, just back, I think earlier in the webinar, you mentioned, automation isn't just a magic bullet to solve your problems, right? You do actually need a strategy there and messaging and things. So just wondering how best to get help to clarify the messaging on their website. Is that something Bizink will offer, and where to go help for that?
Yeah, we can help with that. I mean, I always say there's a bit of marketing that you can outsource, but there's a bit that you have to have in your firm, right? Is that, you have to have a marketing mindset and knowing who your ideal customer is, what you stand for, what you're going to say to them. A lot of that you have to work out yourself, right? Because, I can look at your firm and say, hey, you should do this, but I don't know, it's your business in the end. And so I think that's something that, you have to work through. And if you can come with that and say, hey, we're trying to appeal to this audience who have these problems, that's when a copywriter can take over and help you craft those messages. But what I don't think Bizink or any marketing firm can do, well, they can, but you have to spend a lot of money doing it, is come up with your whole business strategy, right? And so that bit kind of has to come a bit from the firm, and you have to live that every day. Otherwise, what a marketer can do for you is always going to fall a little bit flat, because yeah, they can't make up what your business is actually doing.
And Leanne's asking for help with Google Forms, automation, and zapping. Do we do that sort of work? Where to go to for that?
No, we don't. But if that's Leanne, I'm thinking it is, then maybe just post it in our client group and we can help with that. I mean, we don't get paid to do it, but I'm happy to help out.
Sure. I'll send through after a link to our Facebook group, although Leanne, I'm sure you're in there. Yeah. Tanya's just asking as well, how do you recommend asking for Google reviews?
I just one of my biggest business lessons was just ask for what you want. Just ask for what you want in the simplest way possible. So I just go to your clients and like, will you give me a Google review?
Yeah.
That's it. Don't beat around the bush. Don't incentivize it. You could send them something nice afterwards if they do. But the way I see it, if I like a business, a supplier that I work with, I don't need a bottle of wine to write them a review. And in fact, if they if they tried to bribe me to do it and I didn't like them, I wouldn't do it anyway. I'd just do it because I want to, because I thought they were good. So I think if you go to your clients and just say, hey, would you do it? I mean, they will do it. They do, our clients are fantastic at doing that for us. So I'd just be like, look, do it really simply. I mean, we have a template for doing that, I think. Anthea,
yes, that's what I was going to say. I'll definitely send you, Tanya, I'll just make a note, to send you the template we have, which is exactly what Matt said. It's just, hey, we're asking for this, and it's pretty simple. I mean, definitely if you were having a a conversation either face to face or over Zoom or something, it might be a more natural way to mention it, verbally. But obviously, if you've got a bunch of people to send it to, an email campaign using our template is pretty easy way to do it. And Martin said, I recently asked for Google reviews. I just sent them a link, got them easily. So if you've got some good clients that you're happy with, friendly with, then and Rhonda, I'll send the template out in the follow-up email to everyone with the ebook and things like that. So
yeah, cool.
It'll be easy to send it to everyone.
And just keep on it as well. Like, one of the most underused things in marketing is repetition. So if you send it out and think, sent that to my clients and 10 gave me a review and that's it, like, loads of them won't have even opened the email, not because they didn't thought it was a bad email, just busy or whatever, on holiday. So just keep sending it, like, every quarter or whatever, and over time, that's how you'll get it. Not by being different or smarter or anything, just repetition.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, that brings us up to the hour, so we'll wrap things up. If there are any more questions, we'll answer those by email after the session. But thanks to everybody for coming along. It's been really cool to talk to you about automation today, and we're going to be sending out the recording and the new ebook that Diane created. It's really cool. We've got some more ebooks coming as well, but it looks awesome, and really excited to send that out to you. So we will probably send that later today, if not early tomorrow. That will be with you. So yeah, thanks Diane and Anthea, and thanks to everyone for coming along, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks everyone. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.